Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tira Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Dandana Braja Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tira Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tira Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Haribo 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo Nitai Gaura Haribo 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayat nastaprayasya bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama sloke bhakti bhavati naishtaki. So we're continuing reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, chapter 32, entitled Entanglement and Fruitive Activities, text number 24. Yadasya chitam aheshu, yadasya chitam aheshu, samishvi indriya vritabi, samyashva indriyam, sayam vish indra vritabihi, Navigrinati vasham, Navigrinati vashamyam, Navigrinati vaishamyam, Navigrinati vaishamyam. Priyam apriyam iti uta, Priyam apriyam iti uta. Priyam apriyam iti uta. Yadasya chiyamadeshu samishvi indriya vritabi navigrinati vasham, navigrinati vasham, Navignati vaishamyam, Navignati vaishamyam, Navignati vaishamyam, Nati vaishamyam, Priyam apriyam iti uta. Na yadasya chiyamadeshu Samish indriya vritabi navigrinati vaishamyam priyam apriyam iti uta. Yadasya chitamaheshu Savrimrish indriya vritabi Navigranati vaishamyam Priyam apriyam iti utaha. Oh, what did you? Nadasya chiyamadeshu Samyash indriya vritabi Navigranati vaishamyam Priyama priyam iti uta. Okay, yada, when, asya, of the devotee, chitam, the mind, aheshu, in the sense objects, sameshu, in same. Indriya vritabihi, by the activities of the senses. Na, not. Vrignati, does perceive. Vaishamyam, difference. Priyam, agreeable. Apriyam, not agreeable. Iti, thus. Uta, certainly. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The exalted devotee's mind becomes equipoised in sensory activities, and he is transcendental to that which is agreeable and not agreeable. I'll read that translation again. The exalted devotee's mind becomes equipoised in sensory activities, and he is transcendental to that which is agreeable and not agreeable. Purport. The significance of advancement in transcendental knowledge and detachment from material attraction is exhibited in the personality of a highly advanced devotee. For him there is nothing agreeable or disagreeable, because he does not act in a way for his personal sense gratification. Whatever he does, whatever he thinks, is for the satisfaction of the personality of Godhead. Either in the material world or in the spiritual world, his equipoised mind is completely manifested. He can understand that in the material world there is nothing good. Everything is bad due to its being contaminated by material nature. The materialist conclusions of good and bad, moral and immoral, etc. are simply mental concoction or sentiment. Actually, there is nothing good in the material world. In the spiritual field, everything is absolutely good. There is no inebriety in the spiritual varieties. Because a devotee accepts everything in spiritual vision, he is equipoised. That is the symptom of his being elevated to the transcendental position. He automatically attains detachment, vairagya, then jnana, knowledge, and then actual transcendental knowledge. The conclusion is that an advanced devotee dovetails himself in the transcendental qualities of the Lord, and in that sense he becomes qualitatively one with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Om Jnana Timarandasya Jananjana Salakaya Chakshu Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and by the mercy of my spiritual master, he is kindly forcing open my eyes with the torchlight of transcendental knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Nama Om Vishnupada Krishna Pista Bodhale Srimati Tamal Krishna Goswamin Iti Namane. So this verse is a little complex, but the gist is there that we can say Vidya Vinaya Sapani, a Brahmana sees with equal vision the different bodies, but also the different situations, good and bad. And as Prabhupada was saying here in the purport, nothing is good in this material world because you could say of the time element. The time element, Krishna says, of destroyers, I am time. So everything is destroyed in time. So what are we thinking is good or bad? Happiness and distress, all these things are actually ultimately bad because they're destroyed in due course of time. What to speak of this body, but we understand with our spiritual understanding coming from the Bhagavad Gita that there was never a time that we did not exist, nor in the future shall we ever cease to be. So this is the well, you could say it's like our lifeline. This is what we're hanging on to, is the understanding that we are transcendental to this material situation, this body, this bag of bile, mucus and air, full of so many bad things, abominable things. We are not actually part of that. We are the dwelling within the body, no doubt, but we are transcendental to this whole situation. It's like we're seated in there, but we're aloof. If we desire, this is the nature of our mind. Our mind can become very attached to this body and the demand of the senses, the eating, the sleeping, the mating and the defending, which is what the animal kingdom is doing. Eating, sleeping, mating, defending, that's it. That's all they're doing. The animals are just looking for food, looking for sex life, some shelter and defending themselves. So we also as human beings can be on this animalistic platform if that's all we're identifying with is this material body. How to maintain the body, how to protect the body, how to enjoy through the body. So these things are very, well, you could say low class to some degree, but there is also a higher class. We understand this, that in the human form of life, we perform spiritual activities. We are coming in front of the deity, we're paying our obeisances, we're doing so many rules and regulations like that in order to achieve liberation. This is our goal. We want to become freed. We want the blessings of God to come upon us so that we can become freed from this cycle of birth and death. But there is so much more that goes on within the dimensions of Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is where we are dovetailing even our thoughts, our actions and everything for the pleasure of Krishna. So this comes about as we advance in our spiritual understanding. When we first come to Krishna consciousness, we may even come in a challenging way, who is God? Prove to me who is God, and like that. So we can come in a challenging spirit, but if we approach it in a very humble and submissive way, when we approach the Bhagavad Gita, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying many times, he's presenting that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and there are chapters there where he is saying, I am the sun, I am the moon, I am the devas, and like this he is saying so many things, presenting himself. He's also exhibiting his universal form to Arjuna, and Arjuna is concluding it after that that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Narada Muni is saying it, all the other previous sages are saying it. So if we are able to accept this fact that God is a person, and he has exhibited himself, he's come to this planet, he's come to the land of Vrindavan, and he's exhibited many wonderful pastimes like this Rasa Leela, this dancing in the forest of Vrindavan, and also the wonderful pastimes that go on at Radhakund, Shamakund, and the hill of Govardhan. There's many wonderful activities that Krishna exhibits. In this particular dancing of the Rasa Leela, he has expanded himself so that he is dancing with each and every one of the gopis. So who can do that? So Krishna has exhibited his supremacy in many, many ways. So it's just a matter of us having we're approaching it in the right mood, so that we can grasp that this is actually tattva, or real truth. It is not some concoction like that. These activities actually went on, and in this way we can advance in our shraddha, our faith. It becomes firm and fixed. We become fixed in our faith, and therefore we gradually dedicate our lives more and more to this process of Krishna consciousness. So the verse yesterday was mentioning that engagement in Krishna consciousness and application of devotional service unto Krishna make it possible to advance in knowledge and detachment. So that's the same verse that we hear in the early phases of Srimad Bhagavatam, that we get this detachment and knowledge automatically comes. So we don't have to be great scholars, but if we are dovetailing our activities, and our activities are no longer fruitive, but they are being offered to Krishna, whatever we do, whatever you say, whatever you eat, like that. So if we are offering our activities and the results of our activities to Krishna, that is like pure bhakti. And when you apply yourself to pure bhakti, that is also very pleasing to Krishna as well. It's not that he needs our bhakti, but he accepts it like that. So if we are in a position where we're able to do pure bhakti, then we get a pure result back. We get the reciprocation of the Supreme Lord. But it's a very elevated platform, this pure bhakti. We can speak of it very, it can roll off the tongue very easily, bhakti yoga, but to do it in a very pure stage is a very elevated stage. And most of us are performing devotional service in a mixed way. We are taking some result from our activities and maintaining our families or maintaining ourselves in this way. So it's mixed devotional service. But when we get to the pure stages of devotional service, our minds, as we are hearing here, our minds are detached from all the material surroundings around us and the results of those activities, and we actually become very peaceful. We are no longer hankering and lamenting for some result. We are seeing or accepting that everything is coming from Krishna. Everything is coming. Our interactions on a daily basis, who we meet, nothing happens by chance. We understand that also. Nothing happens by chance. Whether we stub our toe or we burn our hand or whatever accidents may come of us, we know that this is due to our past activities or our inattentiveness, whatever it may be. I burnt my hand the other day, and it was I could see it could have been a lot worse. So that's the devotee's mood, that okay, you burnt my fingertips, but it could have been my whole hand, and I could have had, lost all my skin. It could have been a lot more intense. So when something negative happens to the devotee, here we are not so much disturbed. We are actually grateful that it is only minimal for what we should be deserving, because as a devotee, as we advance again, we see how we are being influenced by the material energy. The mind is always being dictated to by the senses and the body, and all these material influences are there for us. But we hear in the Bhagavad Gita that by performing devotional service, we are able to transcend these modes of material nature and come to the level of Brahman. So we can gradually become more and more detached through the gyan, through the knowledge, through studying Bhagavad Gita, studying Srimad Bhagavatam. We become gradually more detached. It's like, as we hear our bhakti lata within our heart, the seed of devotion has been planted in our heart, and we have to water that seed, pull out the weeds, all the unwanted things, and gradually this plant will grow into what we call as the bhakti lata bij. So therefore it's a gradual thing. We cannot just come into Krishna consciousness and expect to all of a sudden understand everything and see everything on the transcendental platform. It's a gradual thing that we have to go through. And it takes us our whole lifetime. if not this lifetime, sometimes we hear many lifetimes we can be in this path of bhakti, gradually getting rid of all these fruitive activities and making it more pure. It's becoming more condensed, like boiling down the milk and making condensed milk. It becomes thicker and sweeter as we go along. So we have to have this understanding and not expect to become fully self-realized quickly. It's not like a cheap thing where you can be, the guru can touch you and suddenly you've got all understanding like that. It's like we are being tested constantly through the day. How are we going to interact with devotees? Are we going to have a mood of humility? Or are we going to be proud and offensive like that? And what words are we going to speak? Are our words going to be kind and gentle? Or are our words going to be harsh and like arrows to the heart? So we are constantly given opportunities to try and better ourselves and practice this science of bhakti, on how this humility and this mood of willing to serve, because that is our real nature, is to serve, but it's a matter of who we choose to serve. We generally, in a conditioned state, we want to serve ourselves and we want to see ourselves as being the center of the universe. But gradually, as we become more Krishna conscious, we take the pleasure in actually becoming this das anudas, serving the other devotees without any material motivations. And as we dovetail our activities and offer the results of our activities to Krishna, then Krishna, not only on the altar, but Krishna within our heart. We have to understand that the Lord is with us at every moment. So the Lord within our heart, He reciprocates without a doubt. He makes our situation according to our actions. He reciprocates with that. So if we want to remain greedy or lusty, then the Lord will make arrangements for that. But if we really want to see the Lord, in the land of Vrindavan, or remember his pastimes, Krishna is saying in the Bhagavad Gita this manmana bhava madbhakto. He says it twice. Always think of me, become my devotee, offer obeisances unto me. So it's not just some whimsical instruction to always think of Krishna. It's a very important aspect of engaging our minds in thinking of the Lord's form and his pastimes. Otherwise, what is the mind going to think of? We can't stop the mind like the Buddhists are trying to do. This nirvana platform. It can be attained. But it's a very difficult thing in this age of Kali Yuga. So we can see what our minds are like. Our minds are always going here and there. Looking for something. But if we are able to follow the instructions that are given by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, this manmana bhava madbhakto, then Krishna can reveal so many things to us, that how, don't become so concerned with the body. You can become detached. I will look after you, have no fear, simply surrender. So if we apply ourselves to this, then we can see how Krishna does provide, in a very wonderful way. But we have to have that faith in order to come to that platform. So it's like, climbing the stairs, you could say, but you can also hop in the elevator and push the button and go quite quickly to the spiritual platform if you're willing to fully surrender to this process and to the Lord. And as being mentioned here, Prabhupada's very nicely mentioning in the purport how this place is a very bad place. Prabhupada was very good at this. He was very good at smashing all the illusions of what this world is and what we're aspiring for. He is just saying it is all bad. Everything in this world is all bad. So that is helpful, for one who is willing to fully surrender. But not everybody wants to hear that message that everything is bad, and everything is going to be destroyed by time. A lot of us want to hear that, dharma, artha, karma, moksha. You perform your religious activities, you will get the results of your activities, and then you can have some sense enjoyment, and then at the end of the life you can get liberated. And this is generally the path that we will go through. That's why we have the brahmachari ashram, the grihastha ashram, then the vanaprastha ashram, and ultimately the sannyas ashram is there. So it's a gradual process of detachment. We should not falsely try to detach ourselves prematurely, because we can see even in the history of ISKCON that just results in fall down. The mind is so strong that it will drag you away from your spiritual practice and lead you to a fall down if you are not in that mature stage of detachment. So gradually we have to detach ourselves. We shouldn't try and do it prematurely. We should just go through the ashrams, and in this way we will naturally become disgusted with the material world, and then we'll fully be able to dedicate our minds and our activities to the Supreme Lord in the mature stages of our life, and then everything will be revealed from within. So it's a very gradual thing, but very scientific as well. I think I'll leave it there. I'll just read the translation here. I'll just go back to yesterday's verse as well. Engagement in Krishna consciousness and the application of devotional service unto Krishna make it possible to advance in knowledge and detachment, as well as in self-realization. So that's saying, bhakti yoga will bring about all these things. The exalted devotee's mind becomes equipoised in sensory activities, and he is transcendental to that which is agreeable and not agreeable. Are there any questions, comments?
Somebody was saying to me yesterday, I think it's from the class on Shilpa and Swami, who was saying everything that we see creates an impression on our minds.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's watching a documentary or looking at Facebook or looking at advertisements
Mm-hmm.
or horror movies, whatever.
Yes.
Creates an impression on our mind that you were saying that when our mind stops absorbing Krishna, Krishna's saying always think of me. So how do we get the balance? At the moment, maybe that no balance, I'm filling my mind with impressions which are not Krishna related. Maya's giving us so many opportunities now to do that with phones and technology.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got to tip the balance
Mm-hmm.
gradually so that my mind is more going only thinking and seeing about Krishna consciousness. It's quite a scary realization how much personally and so we can absorb my mind which are not about Krishna.
So Sivan Mukhi Jivado, engaging the tongue. And Prabhupada would always say, always chant Hare Krishna. So by engaging the tongue, chanting this Maha Mantra, we're, regardless of what we're doing, we're in the shower, whether we're out in the ocean, whether we're walking, whether we're shopping, wherever we are, we can just engage the tongue. Because it's tongue, belly, genitals, as Prabhupada said, and they're in a straight line, so we're yogis. And because we're in Kali Yuga, we're not very good yogis. But if we engage the tongue in chanting this Maha Mantra constantly, or as much as possible, that is our saving grace, because even just the understanding of what is the holy name. Krishna is present within his name. We hear that. Krishna is present within his name. And within the name are all his potencies are there also. So there is so much that is within the name that, we may not have full understanding or realization or even full faith in what is in the name. But if we just take the medicine, the doctor's saying, take so many times a day. So Prabhupada is saying constantly chant Hare Krishna, regardless of where you are. So this is our saving grace if we do this. If we chant the holy name. But also we should be checking, what are we watching on these screens? These screens is just like the mind really. Whatever you desire can come onto the screen. So we've got to be careful what our desires are like that and avoid those things that are disturbing to our mind and our senses. So it's a discipline. We have to be yogis and controlled, but our saving grace is the holy name. Constantly chanting, associating with the holy name. And in that mood of humility also, because we can see that is the mood of the previous acharyas. The previous acharyas, their mood was great humility and just full dependence on the name and on the devotees, on the Archa Vigraha, fully dependent and just, desiring that the mercy come down. Because we are not able to elevate ourselves on our own. We are dependent on the mercy coming through the holy name and through the devotees. So we have to have that mood of dependence and helplessness, so that we, because this is really our position. We're in a helpless situation. We're not able to get ourselves out, so therefore it's like, Prabhupada says in those famous lectures, it's like the baby calling out to the mother. So if we have that right mood, that's where we have to get rid of the pride. The pride is, I'm all right, I've got a good bank balance, I've got a nice house, I've got wife and children, I'm fit and strong, my digestion is working, everything is good. I'm in control. That's like a demoniac mentality, which we hear about also in the Bhagavad Gita. That was one chapter that I used to avoid, divine and demoniac mentalities. But we have to study it to some degree to understand it, so that we can see it within ourselves also, this demoniac mentality coming about. So it's just a matter of practice, study, this knowledge and detachment side by side will carry us to the desired destination. We need both. You need the vairagyam and the jnanam to assist us in our journey. So with this understanding, we can make advancement. So we have to be very wise what we expose ourselves to. And it's all there. Rupa Goswami is telling us of, the 6 favourable things and the 6 unfavourable things for devotional service. So we've got to be enthusiastic and confident, patient, like that. And we have to avoid the association of the non-devotees to some degree, especially in the certain aspects of our life. They may have a bigger influence, and we have to just be wary of that. So there's many aspects. Again, it's a whole science on how to keep the mind, protect the mind, but filter what's coming in, what's going out, and in this way have the conducive environment for making advancement. Very scientific. I'm just looking at my own life, and I can see what the obstacles are, and I have to also constantly refer back to what I should be doing, and then following that with faith. The faith has a big part in it, of actually this firm faith will make us stronger as we go on, and then we become able to you could say defend ourselves when we're being attacked, from unfavourable situations. So very, very subtle science. The mind is such a subtle thing even. So just persevering, and our understanding will gradually become more and more as we do more and more bhakti. Starting with chanting, but from the chanting we get the opportunity to perform other duties and services. And by performing those duties and services in a favourable way, Krishna will become grateful, for helping expand this Krishna consciousness movement, and will be blessed with so many deeper realizations. That's what we're really aspiring for, is these deeper realizations, so that we become very strong in our Krishna consciousness, like Prabhupada was the general. So we want to become fit to assist in the battle. Is that of some assistance? Okay, all right, we'll leave it there, right? Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol.